Hello folks, I'm Richard Sims from Action Angling and SkippersTackleBox.com. Here to tell you about Skipper's Tornado Centerpin float reel and just how to use it. I'm just in my backyard, so I don't think I'm going to catch any fish today, considering there's no water. Anyways, so you're going to get your Skipper's Tornado. You're going to see it's come with a nice carrying case, kind of just to keep it from getting dirty and muddy, and it'll protect it over the years. So when you get your Skipper's float reel and you pull it out of the box or the bag, there's two different kinds of line you're going to put on here. Ideally, you're going to need some backing. Just number one, so you don't waste double the amount of fishing line when you don't have to, and also a good amount of backing. It's going to spin great right out of the box, make no mistake, but a good amount of backing will help that spin just perfectly. Trying to show you better, not to hold it upside down, and it'll make it spin just that nicely, which is that spin, that that center pin having a nice free spin like the Tornado has is exactly what you need in a center pin reel. Like we don't just use them because they're fun to use. There is a purpose for a center pin reel. After you got your backing on there, I like to use probably about 50 yards of 25-pound mono. That works well. Anything like that. Heavier line the better, because it's going to take up more space, obviously, and it's a little bit heavier, which gives you that center of gravity right in the center of the reel, which is where you want it. Then after that, a lot of people run an 8-pound as a main line, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I run 12. I don't like breaking fish off, and that's pretty much the only reason. I don't like losing my floats either. And you run that as a main line. You use a lot, probably like 200, 300 yards of main line. Up more if you have 8-pound on there. And that's I guess another advantage to the 12-pound is I don't have to use as much because it takes up more space. It's thicker, and yeah, you put a lot of that on there till it's almost full. I actually underspooled this one. I would ideally like maybe another 50 yards of this stuff on there, but I don't fish really big rivers, so I don't have to worry about them running all my line off my reel. The line would break before that would ever happen. So then you're going to have to pair it with a rod. This is a 12'9" 3-piece rod, but I used a 9'6" float rod for years. This is just because I started fishing bigger rivers, and you need the extra length when you get into a longer drift. But the 9'6" rod did just a perfect job on the smaller creeks and rivers around here for like 5 years now, and I had a 12-footer first, and I didn't like it, and I was fishing the Grand River, and it didn't really help me there for some reason. I fished different back then, but I did fine with less. I had, I think, 11.5 for the first few years that I was float fishing the Grand. And but anything 9 foot and up will work just fine. Medium to light action. Medium light is great. Medium if you have to. I wouldn't go any heavier than that. You need the flex to help you land fish of a lighter rod. Then well, we'll talk about hardware after. You're going to want to learn how to cast this thing if you've never used a center pin before. It's not like a regular reel in any sense. There's no buttons, no switches, no levers, nothing you gotta pull. It's all in you. You control the line. There's a lot of different ways to cast it because of that, but I only use the one way, which is a sideways swing cast. And try and demonstrate that for you. I've been doing it for like 10 years. It's kind of hard to explain. It's just kind of second nature now. I like to grab my line, and you essentially want to, in the first place, you're directing the line directly off the side of your reel so you can guide it off of that wheel. So it's going to come off like that. And you're getting ready to cast. So you're going to hold your bait. So I'm pinching this right now, and I'm holding the spool of the center pin with my pinky finger. And I'm going to let go with my pinky finger on the reel when I cast, and at the same time I'm going to loosen my clasp on the line, and I'm just going to keep it as a loop and let the line go through there. And then that is going to guide the line off of the reel and wherever I want to cast. And when you get doing this well, you can cast it pretty well anywhere you want to go this way. So I'll do one. See that? It casted halfway across the yard and it came off the spool through my fingers, making a loop like that. And you don't actually even have to pinch the line beforehand with your left hand. You can just make the loop and hold the line here with your pinky finger against the spool, and then you just have your loop ready to go. That's a lot easier that way. And just going to keep it guiding off of the reel there. You don't want this reel to actually be spinning when you're casting. You're taking the line off of it sideways. But if you're going to cast that way, you're going to have a lot of line twist. So, I mean, number one, everyone's running a shot line these days anyway. But the shot line, the whole reason I started doing a shot line on my rig is because I got 2 swivels, and this one's actually a chain swivel, so that's even better. And my I run 10-pound test with 3 or 4 little weights wherever I am, depending on where I am, I mean. And the 2 swivels is going to virtually eliminate any problems with the line twist that you're going to have for the most part, especially on long drifts, because it's going to work itself out as it goes. And it's not going to twist your rig up or really affect your bait, because 2 swivels are going to stop the twist. And you're going to have, well, your skipper's float. Skipper's Pro float on there. And I'm going to have to talk to Skipper about this, because it doesn't say anything on his website for people who are new to this type of style of float fishing. You got to have latex or silicone tubing either on hand or go buy it somewhere to hold your float on the line. Not just, you put the tubing right on your line wherever you want. You use 2 pieces, one for the bottom and one for the top, and then you put your float into position, and you can just peg it down with the tubing. It works really good, and it keeps your float, well, it doesn't interfere with your line, number one, if you have a fish on. If anything, the float's going to come off, but you're still going to catch your fish. And it keeps your line in the perfect position too, as well, for float fishing. Slip floats are good too, because it goes directly through the float, but yet again, they're going to cause damage in this style of fishing. No matter how you do it, you're going to be running into logs with that thing. And then on my end, I actually have it way too short right now. I don't know why that's like that, but ideally I have 6 to 8 inches of 8-pound fluorocarbon as my my hook length there, and then a number 8, I believe, specialist hook, and that does the trick really well. And that's how I set up my Centerpin float reel and how I cast it. Hopefully these tips have been helpful to you, and you can go out and use your Skipper's Tornado tomorrow and catch some big fish. Good luck to you. Richard Sims, Team Action Angling at skipperstacklebox.com.